Well, thank you everyone for coming out for a special webinar about Royal Caribbean. And we are quite fortunate to have Nate Good, the Strategic Account Manager, is it just for the Western region or
Oh, Pacific Northwest
the
is yeah.
Pacific Northwest?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm so happy to have Nate come and speak to us. He's such a trooper. I just gave you maybe about a week's notice or less, and he's put together a fabulous presentation. I just saw him. He did a ship tour for Royal Caribbean on Friday, so I got to see him then too. And he's just a great guy, very knowledgeable, and we are very fortunate to have him tonight. So, without further ado, I will turn it over to Nate.
Awesome. Thank you, Claudette.
Thanks.
Well, welcome, everyone. Whether you're with us live today or we're going to watch this back on record, I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk all things Royal Caribbean. A lot of fun things happening in the world of Royal today. Really kind of want to focus on just kind of big picture, the brand, our brand itself, who are our cruisers, kind of deciphering the different ship classes that we have. We've got several different ships and spread out over seven different classes of ships. Kind of just want to paint the picture for those different experiences and where we go and we cruise throughout the world. We've got some great promotions and some great opportunities going on right now. And then we'll do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to take myself off camera just because
Oh,
it kind of helps the flow
I
sometimes
got
and
you.
will prevent some glitches here and there. So,
That's always helpful.
all right. So first and foremost, why Royal? Who is Royal Caribbean? We've long been known as a family brand, of course. We like to think of ourselves as in our cruise line as a multi-gen cruise line. We do have something for everyone. We cater to the entire age demographic of all of our cruisers. So if you've ever seen a commercial for Royal Caribbean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the bells and whistles, the water slides, a lot of the attractions for the families, but really do cover the entire age demographic of all of our families. And all of our families, whether that's mom and dad with the kids, grandma and grandpa with the entire family, young adults, older adults, solo travel. Really coming out of the pandemic, solo travel has been booming. It's I do a lot of solo travel myself personally as well, but that really is a great opportunity. And our ships really do fit that mold to cover anyone and everyone, regardless of the age or what you're looking for within our brands. Known for our wow-worthy ships, our innovative ships. I'm going to highlight a lot of the different attractions, the activities, the entertainment, the onboard offerings throughout our different ships. We go to 300 plus different destinations worldwide. We're going to talk about a few of them today, but really do travel at every cruise market around the world. And of course, we're going to deliver that with some incredible service. You're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of money on board to go on these vacations. So we want to make sure that you're well taken care of and you really are treated like part of the Royal Caribbean family as soon as you step foot on board. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about some of the different destinations. By the end of 2026, we're going to have 21 of our different ships sailing throughout the Caribbean, really with a year-round presence throughout the various different Caribbean markets. Six ships are going over to Europe as we speak, getting up into Northern Europe, all over the Mediterranean, and some longer Greek Isle sailings, of course, as well. We have four ships right here in our backyard sailing up to Alaska, two of which that sail out of Seattle. Five ships on the West Coast, and that is outside of Seattle. So five ships basically out of California between Los Angeles and San Diego, getting down to the Mexican Riviera. We do send four ships over to the Northeast, getting into Canada, New England, that beautiful fall foliage itineraries in the late fall or early and late fall, and then do some longer Caribbean itineraries from the Northeast as well. We do have two ships that are just returning from Australia as we speak, and then we'll go back to Australia at the end of our Alaska season, getting to Australia, New Zealand, the South Pacific Islands. And then we do have one ship living year round, full time over in Asia, sailing between Singapore and Japan as well. I love showing this just kind of overview map just to kind of help paint the picture and reiterate what we just kind of talked about in the various different regions of the world that we travel. But you can see there's several different access points and several different home ports, depending on what area of the world, what region we're looking at cruising. Several different cruise ports worldwide, 18 alone just in North America. That kind of just gives you an idea of the different access points depending on where we're looking to travel. But there's several different opportunities throughout our various different ships to really dive into the major cruise markets. Gonna highlight Alaska, of course. It's right here in our backyard. It's one of my personal favorites. I used to work on board about 15 years ago, and I started on a cruise ship in Alaska, and I fell in love since day one, and loved it ever since. It's going to be regardless of the home port that you sail of out of, which we do have three different home ports of Seattle, Vancouver, and Seward. All of them are going to be 7 night itineraries, ranging from different ports of calls like you see here on the screen. You're going to hit Skagway, Juneau, Tracy on Ford, Ketchikan, those fan favorite itineraries. Beautiful Hubbard Glacier sailing from Seward or Vancouver is arguably one of the most beautiful, picturesque glaciers in Alaska. It is absolutely gorgeous, and we sail right up into the fjords and right next to the glacier itself, sailing in and out of the inside passage, of course, depending on if you're going northbound or southbound. Great opportunities there. We also do offer an Alaska cruise tour product and opportunity where you can take a 7 night cruise and double it up with up to an additional 6 nights via land. So you can turn that 7 night cruise into up to 13 total nights to get deep into the heart of Alaska. All of which, all 12 different unique cruise tours do come with, again, that 7 night itinerary, north or southbound. And then you're going to get several different land access points, every one of which does do the Denali overnight with an excursion and cruise tour on the infamous Denali train ride through Denali National Park. Getting deep into the heart of Alaska, you can kind of see the overview map on the right side. This is what you're looking at when you're cruising, and then the top left are the various different land-based ports of calls into the internal inlet of Alaska in itself. Uh, Depending on if you're doing six or between 2 and 6 additional land cruise tour ports will, of course, determine on which and how many of these different destinations you'll get to. But this really, in my opinion, is the best way to see truly authentic Alaska, really getting a focus into, especially if wildlife is a big focal point when you're going to Alaska. The big five, the moose, the bear, the caribou, the eagles, and among many others, are going to be the best opportunity and greatest access point is going to get deep into the inlet of Alaska and the interior of Alaska by doing a cruise tour. Really is no better option whether you're going north or southbound. You do have an opportunity to do either pre or post. It really is whatever is most convenient for your schedule. Personally, I love doing a cruise tour, the land portion first, and then follow it up with a nice relaxing cruise for 7 days afterwards. But whatever fits your schedule best really is the perfect getaway and opportunity. Sticking to the West Coast, I mentioned we are going to have 5 ships sailing on the West Coast this year. And we're actually adding a brand new home port of San Diego. So this fall will be our first entry point into San Diego, sailing down to the Mexican Riviera. But between LA and San Diego, we're going to have 5 different ships sailing the various itineraries, anywhere from 3 up to 8 night itineraries down to the Mexican Riviera, with several of which doing true overnights in Cabo. Cabo San Lucas, Mazatlan, Catalina Island, Ensenada. These are beautiful itineraries, Puerto Vallarta opportunities. Really the closest fun under the sun for us up here in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, we're all over the Caribbean. I mentioned earlier, we do have 21 ships sailing year round with that year round presence, with various different itineraries ranging anywhere from that 2 to 3 night all the way up to 8, 9, and some 11, 12 longer night itineraries down to the Southern Caribbean. We have of course, the fan favorite Eastern and Western Caribbean itineraries where you're looking to get down to Mexico, Cozumel, Honduras, Roatan, getting down to Jamaica, of course, all over St. Martin, St. Thomas. Several of our Eastern Caribbean itineraries go to Perfect Day at Coco Cay, one of our private destinations located down in the Bahamas. And then getting into the most sought after itineraries are definitely the longer Southern Caribbean itineraries, home porting out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, getting down to the ABC islands of Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, St. Croix, St. Lucia, Antigua. These are beautiful BVIs down there. I really think they're a lot less commercialized down there, a lot less trafficked, I guess you could say, less touristic down there in those Southern Caribbean itineraries. Really does help mold that beautiful scenery down there. And another, Claudette and I were talking before we came onto the call and just looking at some unique opportunities. We have a great batch of what we call one-off and unique wanders, which are really just kind of exactly what it says, one-off. They're unique, one-off opportunities that are either a transatlantic, a transpacific, or it's a repositioning cruise going from one home port transitioning to a brand new home port. Everything from doing a Pacific coastal at the end of Alaska season, transitioning down to LA or San Diego, and then continuing on with a Panama Canal cruise, or it's transitioning from one of our European home ports and going down to Australia, New Zealand, maybe going over to Asia as well. These are really long bucket list, to-do list itineraries, anywhere from 7 nights up to upwards of 21, 22, 23 night itineraries, depending on the region of the world and area that you're looking at cruising. Having 7 different classes of ships, we really do have at least 1 to 2 or 3 different ships in each class that are doing these unique, longer itineraries. I love personally longer itineraries. The pace of life just kind of slows down that much more. And with our ships being a ship, being the destination in itself, it gives you that much more time to just sit back, relax. It's not a mad dash to get all of the activities or see all of the entertainment in the first couple of nights. You have several different sea days and several different opportunities to just relax and enjoy your time and casually see these different activities and experiences throughout your cruise. Along those same lines, sticking to the destinations, we've really started to invest and dive into not only our cruise ships but our destinations worldwide. And what we highlight as our ultimate destinations portfolio, which does include Royal Caribbean Group owned itinerary or owned ports of call. We do have currently 3 private islands, 2 of which are down in we have, or excuse me, 3 current island experiences. Perfect Day at Coco Cay and Perfect Day Mexico are 2 of our Perfect Day experiences. Perfect Day is located down in the Bahamas. Perfect Day Mexico is actually coming at the end of 2027 and is going to be in the port of Costa Maya. These are Royal Caribbean owned ports of call. So only Royal Caribbean group ships will have the opportunity and access points. Perfect Day at Coco Cay continues to be the #1 rated destination worldwide by all of our guests that we travel to. So over the three out of the 300 plus destinations we go to worldwide, Perfect Day at Coco Cay continues to be the #1 rated port, and simply because of the sheer amount of opportunities and things there is to do on the ship. Catering to that entire age demographic, we have different sections dedicated to the adults only, dedicated to the younger kids, to the teenagers, to the families as a whole, dedicated beaches that are just all about relaxing or all about the beach activities, uh, the beach volleyball, the cornhole, those different activities. There's somewhere around the island several different freshwater heated pools that are access to. Really is an extension of our Royal Caribbean ships when you're going to our perfect day experiences. And then we also have started to invest in our ports of calls throughout the various itineraries and investing in that port of call, not necessarily owning it like we do Perfect Day, Mexico, and Coco Cay, but we are investing in properties in various destinations and have highlighted these as our Royal Beach Clubs. We did just recently open our first one in Nassau, Bahamas. Royal Beach Club Paradise Island is an optional shore excursion for Royal Caribbean group cruisers to go and experience. Chances are, if you've ever been to the Caribbean, you've probably been to the port of Nassau. You may have been there several different times. It's a beautiful port. It's a beautiful itinerary. It's very highly trafficked at any point in time. There can be 6 or 7 of the largest cruise ships in the world all going to the same port of call and can become quite congested. We've gotten a lot of that feedback from our cruisers, and we really wanted to invest in that port and give all of our guests, all of our annual cruisers as well, and new to cruise guests an opportunity to do something new and exciting that nobody else has had that opportunity to do. It's safe, it's secure, transportation is included. This is a great opportunity for these Royal Beach Clubs. We just recently opened our second one in Santorini as well, Royal Beach Club Santorini. And then the third Royal Beach Club will be opening in Cozumel by the end of this year. Think all inclusive, everything included, everything from your transportation to your lockable storage, your food, your beverages, your entertainment, your towels, access to the freshwater pools, heated pools, mind you. When you're crew traveling through the Caribbean, even in the summer or the winter, excuse me, it can get quite cold in the water itself. So having access to heated pools right there with the access to the beach really comes in handy. Having the quick access to both. Perfect Day at Coco Cay kind of gives you an overview picture for exactly how big this island is. Really is kind of separated into 4 different sections. This map, I love this picture because it does show you highlights the several different sections. If you look at the far right, that's Hideaway Beach. That is a 100% adults only section hidden away, hence the name Hideaway Beach, tucked away into the corner in that nice little cove. 18 and above just to get to this area of the island. 2 freshwater pools with the access to that beach as well over at Hideaway Beach. Right there in the center, highlighted in pink. That's really all about the families. 13 plus different water slides at sea. We've got wave pools, we've got adventure pools. The tallest water slide in the Caribbean is located at Thrill Water Park. And then on the left side, it's all about the beach. Chance to kick back and relax. You're working on your suntan. If you're like me, you're gonna work on your sunburn, the red hair and the fair skin. I get sunburned pretty crispy down there in the Caribbean. But then on the venturing up to the top, that's all about luxury. It's the private side of the island, Cocoa Beach Club. We do limit it and restrict it to a few hundred passengers getting access, but it is a little bit more elevated of an experience. You have access to your own Cocoa Beach Club clubhouse with your own infinity style pool. It is home to 20 overwater beach cabanas, so a taste of that Bora Bora Tahiti lifestyle right in the Caribbean. And then you get access to the elevated cuisine as well. So you're looking at your filet mignon, your grilled lobster, and grouper at the Royal Beach Club, Cocoa Beach Club. Now, going into our ships, we do have the most innovative ships in the world. We do have the largest ships in the world, catering to the entire family. But regardless of the shape or size of of the ship that you could cruise on, you're going to see these types of common ship features on every single Royal Caribbean ship. Starting from for the iconic rock wall that's on board every Royal Caribbean ship, going to several different pools, dedicating pools to the different age demographic of our cruisers as well. Similar to Perfect Day at Coco Cay, we do have adults only areas, adults only pools that are dedicated to our adult environment cruising with us. And then we've got pools that are dedicated to the families, dedicated to relaxing, as you're going to see throughout this presentation. Of course, we have an award-winning Adventure Ocean program, included drop-off, complimentary drop-off style, camp style program for all of our young cruisers. Sports courts, every Royal Caribbean ship also has a full-size Casino Royale on board every ship, comedy clubs, several different opportunities for specialty dining as well as included buffet style windjammer, grab and go, snack shack opportunities for the foods on board our ships. And then finally, we do have a Broadway style theater on board every Royal Caribbean ship. The bigger ships do have several different Broadway style or production show theaters that you're going to hear pretty shortly as well. But again, every ship does have at least one Broadway style theater. Now, going into what's included, what can you expect to be included with your cruise fare if you've never cruised with Royal Caribbean? You could essentially cruise on board a Royal Caribbean ship and not need to spend an additional dime when you're cruising with Royal Caribbean. It's going to include, of course, your cruise fare and your cabin itself. It's going to include your food. It's going to include 100% of your entertainment and live music when on board our ships. So while we do have reservations on select ships, there is no charge to attend and join in on any of the entertainment production shows, any of the live music, the comedy shows, the magicians. Any of those production shows are going to be all 100% included with your stay. Access to our fitness center, access to our private islands. I mentioned earlier they are an extension of the ship itself, so there's no additional charge to go to the island in itself. All of the pools and several different, as I mentioned earlier, grab and go style, buffet style, main dining room opportunities for your food as well. Going into our room accommodations, again, just like our ships, they come in different shapes and sizes, starting with our entry access point into our interior, going to our virtual balcony interiors, which does come with a live or about a 6 foot LED screen with a live feed of the surrounding ocean outside of the ship. So we do have several cameras lined bow to stern, projecting live feeds back to your interior virtual balcony. So when you're cruising through Alaska and Willie and his friends go sailing by, you're going to see him from the comfort of your interior virtual balcony as well. A really popular feature that we've continued to build and include in our ships is our solo studio staterooms as well, which do come with a single supplement. So there are less of them, of course, but there are opportunities on the majority of our cruise ships, and Claudette gets access to be able to see this and is able to help navigate the different stateroom categories, whether that's a studio, whether that's a solo rate, or it's getting up into our bigger staterooms as well. There's a lot of great opportunities that you should be aware of on board our ships, and these are just a few small examples of what those variations look like. Of course, as we go up in scale, we do start to grow our not only the square footage of our rooms, but they do become a little bit more luxury and a little bit more all-inclusive the higher you go up into our suites. Going into our entry suite levels with our junior suites, going into our owner suites, multi-bedroom suites. Something I always like to mention to guests when they come cruise is, and what I encourage you to do next time you're taking a cruise, is think about what you want included, the extras that you want included when you're cruising on a ship. If you start to think about it, are you wanting to and interested in doing a lot of our specialty dining, which is that little bit more upscale, that intimate date night like experience? The food does become a little bit more elevated as well. Is that something that you're interested in including? Are you thinking about including the internet packages or the alcohol beverage packages? Are you looking at including any of that? Would you like to have your gratuities start to be included as well? If the answer is yes to a lot of those extra add-ons, maybe start thinking about looking at what our different suites look like, because not only are you going to get a little bit more elevated room, a bigger room, but you're going to be getting a more all-inclusive room as well, because a lot of those things are built into the price point, into the package itself. And if you start to look at it by purchasing one of your smaller traditional balconies or ocean view interiors or whatnot, and then you start to add up all of the additional things that you're going to be purchasing and adding into the package. Sometimes it does end up being within reason, equal to maybe a little bit more expensive to just kind of splurge, go the extra mile, and get that suite. You're going to get all of those inclusions that you're looking for, but you're also going to get a better room. You're also going to collect double Crown and Anchor points. So you're getting even more bang for your buck when you're cruising and looking at suites. Just something to think about when you're looking and building out your packages when you're going on your next cruise. Our entertainment and nightlife is where I think we separate and elevate ourselves within the brand, within the industry and the world of cruising because of the quality and the level of the entertainment we're offering. I mentioned earlier that it's all 100% included with your cruise fares. When you're on board, you get access to all of these shows. Where we do have several of our ships have these Tony Award-winning Broadway shows: The Saturday Night Fever, We Will Rock You, Hairspray, Wizard of Oz, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is going to be our newest Tony Award winning show on board The Legend of the Seas, coming out in just a few short months at the end of July. So these Broadway shows are produced, choreographed, and live on board our ships where you get complimentary access into the shows. My personal favorites are all of our original productions. These are on board all of our ships. So regardless if there's a Tony Award-winning Broadway show, every ship has these original productions. These are produced in-house and are only exclusive to Royal Caribbean, and also include our various different production show venues. Yes, our Broadway Light Theater, but it also includes our Aqua Theater dive show, where we bring in former Olympic high divers, former Olympic athletes, acrobats that have performed in Cirque du Soleil all around the world. We also have Studio B, a full-size production show ice venue where we are putting on an ice production at sea, where again we're bringing in former Olympic ice skaters from all around the world to produce these shows and put on an incredible show for you and all of our guests.
Oh, Nate, I have to interrupt. To go back to
Sure,
that previous slide,
sure.
I've been on a couple of Royal Caribbean shows, and I have to say the water show, high dive show was amazing. And then I just think there's something decadent about having an ice skating rink on the ship. And not only, well, at least at the time that I went, not only could you watch an ice skating show, you can also go ice skating as well.
Absolutely. And just think about that. You're in the middle of the Caribbean, fun in the sun. You're getting that fresh air, that fresh sunshine. You're working on your sunburn or your suntan. You're gonna go ice skating at night. You're gonna go watch an ice show. You're gonna go watch an aqua theater dive show. This is a great picture, and you're gonna see a few more pictures here in a second of our aqua dive show, where it's just it's stunning. It's incredible. I see the aqua theater is my favorite. I agree with you, Claudette. The aqua theater is probably my favorite venue at sea. And I'm just completely entranced every time I go watch it. And I see the same show over and over and over again because it's that good and it's that thrilling, really. The entertainment and the nightlife does carry in outside of just the production shows. My personal favorite aspect of all of our entertainment is the live music. I love going to live concerts and just listening to different genres of music on land, but at sea, this is my favorite thing to do is just go to the different show venues that we have at any given time on some of our larger ships. When you're on a 7 night cruise, you could essentially go to a new live music concert, a different genre of music every night of the cruise. And again, this is all complimentary and included. So there's no additional charges for these additional shows and these activities when you're going on board these ships. Now, I really kind of just wanted to paint the picture and dissect a little bit more about the various different classes of ships. We do have 7 different classes, starting from our small ships, mid-sized ships, all the way up to the largest ships in the world with our Icon class. So our smaller ships, we do have our Vision and our Radiance class. So I kind of want to paint that picture. of what we're looking at with this class of ships. So we designed the Vision and the Vision class specific ships and the Radiant class ships for that matter to fit into almost any port. These ships do go to the more exotic ports around the world. They're more of a traditional cruise style, or cruise size, excuse me, cruise ship size when we're looking at the various different home ports all around the world, which means that all of our guests can travel to these exotic ports all around the world, regardless of the time of year. So these ships really do sail year round in these exotic ports. Just like our Radiance class as well, Vision class ships combine a small size with just as many activities and just as high of a level of the entertainment that is going to be offered. When you're looking at the Vision, when you're looking at the Radiance class, not only are you thinking about the more exotic ports around the world, but you are thinking more of that classical style of cruising, that classic thought of cruising. And I'm gonna show you a few different pictures of what the interior of some of our sta or some of our venues and our small ships look like. Claudette mentioned earlier we did do a ship tour last week. We got to tour the Serenade of the Seas, which is part of our Radiance class ships. And we were talking earlier as well, and I had forgotten just how much I love that class of ships because yes, it is smaller, but the interior of the ship is enormous. There's a lot less folks, a lot less people, a lot less guests and cruisers on board, and the lounges itself are enormous. There's less of them than on our large mega ships, but one could argue they're almost double the size of what they're looking at on our various different ships. The Radiance class really is a what we call an internal ship in the sense of and a cold weather cruising ship for that matter as well. And what I mean by that is that we're everywhere around the Radiance class ship that you're going to see the floor to ceiling windows. So you can be inside warm and dry when you're sailing to Alaska, when you're sailing to Canada or New England or over in Europe, but still see the beautiful scenery pass you by from the interior of the ship itself. You can see the beautiful nine-story centrum here with the glass when you look left and right on both sides, east and west. The glass elevators are continuing to look outside. So again, regardless of where you're at on the interior of the ship, you can still see the beautiful ocean and the beautiful Alaska scenery as we cruise by. It's a great shot of a fan favorite on board every Royal Caribbean ship, which is the adults only solarium. So it is 18 and above just to get into these different areas of the ship. Love the Vision and the Radiance class solariums because the roof is a retractable roof. So when we're cruising through Alaska or a cold weather cruising environment, we can close that retractable roof, of course. So this is heated, the pools are heated as well, but you can see the floor to ceiling glass everywhere, so you can still see the beautiful scenery. But then when we're in the Caribbean and the weather is a lot more approachable to be outside, we can retract that roof and then you can have that outdoor environment as well. The Radiance class is also iconic to the self-leveling pool tables. So these pool tables, yes, I said self-leveling. So when we're at sea and the ship does get a little bit rocky from time to time, typically you're going to see the pool balls on any other pool table go left and right as the ship rocks, so do the pool balls. Well, these self-leveling pool tables are leveling out and balancing themselves out as we're rocking with the ship. So the balls, I kid you not, do not move an inch. It's really, really impressive the technology behind these ships and behind these pool tables located in our schooner bar as well. Several different pools. Again, they're a little bit smaller and there's less of them, but we do have a few different pools. You saw the solarium interior pool. We also have your traditional outdoor pool too, and you can see a great shot of our enormous outdoor movie theater screen as well as several different. You can kind of see the picture in the top right of our various different whirlpools, hot tubs as well. Radiance class does start to be included with our sports court environment. It is a half court sports court, but this is not only dedicated to all of our kids, but our adults as well. You can see the various different lines. Our basketball lines is outlined, of course, as well as pickleball. We do have all of our sports courts on board every Royal Caribbean ship outlined. Pickleball has taken over the world. It's also taken over the sea as well. These are again included activities, your mini golf, your walk wall, the pickleball activities that are happening out here are going to be included and no additional charge. Then we're getting into our Voyager and our Radiance class ships. This is really the entry into our mid-size ships and really kind of changed and evolutionized the idea of cruising and throughout the various lines and the innovation that was brought into the Voyager and then into the Freedom class was incremental and just again the evolution and the innovation that goes into these various different classes. You're going to see the different access points and different offerings throughout the activities and production show venues, of course, start to grow in square footage. But these were especially if you've ever seen any of our larger Oasis and now Icon class ships, the Freedom class and Voyager class ships were true game changers in the industry, and they were absolutely mind-blowing when with its first launch back in '99 with the Voyager of the Seas
Something
being
different.
the first ship. Freedom class ships represent an excellent value for all of our families. Someone who's looking for that big ship vibe without that big ship capacity. So it's about half the capacity of our Oasis and Icon class of ships, but has the same offerings, has the same activities, has the same vibe as those larger ships. This is a great access point or great viewpoint of our Promenade, which is essentially that strip mall feel where you're going to find a lot of your specialty dining, a lot of your shopping, a lot of the various different lounges. Guest services is also going to be home on the Royal Promenade. You can also see the various different windows. It is anywhere from 5 to 7 decks high, depending on the actual ship you're on. But you can see interior facing ocean view staterooms. So these are interior staterooms, but do come with a window. So it's a new concept that we did adopt with our Voyager and Freedom class of ships. We again do have our traditional production show Broadway-like theater on board these two different classes, but we this is also the intro into our Studio B ice skating rink. So this is the Voyager and Freedom class is we're the first ships to have ice skating at sea, not only as a production show, but also as an activity. So it does offer you that much more. There you go, ice skating as an activity. This is open to all ages, of course, and is again one of those included activities while at sea. You can see the square footage and the pool deck does to start to grow in size, and we start to double the amount of offerings and the amount of pools. You can see the beautiful, vibrant Caribbean-like vibe that we do have on board these Voyager and Freedom class ships. So regardless if you're sailing in Alaska, Europe, or in the Caribbean, you're going to have that Caribbean-esque vibe and that Caribbean-esque feel on these various different ships. Then getting into our quantum class, these are again another step in the right direction in the word of innovation and completely revolutionized again the world of cruising for our shows or our various different ships within our fleet. These are another version of what I call our cold weather cruising ships because it's very internal. You're going to see a lot of these photos here coming up in a second. But these are the ships that we do send to Alaska. These are the ships that we send to Canada, New England, and over in Europe, again, where it's rainy and cold but you can still be inside warm and dry and still see the beautiful scenery pass you by. The Royal Esplanade is a new variation of the Royal Promenade, where again, a lot of our specialty dining, a lot of our shopping, guest services, our Sorrento's Pizza, complimentary grab and go pizza style cafe is located here.
Oh,
We've
Nate, and
added
I'm
a
sorry to interrupt, but we got a little less than 5 minutes for the Zoom call. So I do want to leave a little bit of room. And I'm sorry to rush you. This is such a great
totally okay.
presentation.
No, that's okay. Absolutely. Why don't we just dive into some questions and I will also, I'm going to jump over to the promos that I talked about earlier and
Okay,
just start talking about some of
thank
that.
you.
Yeah,
So thank you so much, Nate. I'm sorry that we're feeling so rushed, but there, as you see, there's a lot to show and enjoy. So while Nate's going through and showing some more of the pictures of the other class ships, do we have any questions? Ah, so you're doing such a great job. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Oh, and as Nathan's going through here, the Rising Tide Bar. If you haven't been on a Royal Caribbean ship that has that, that is another awesome feature where it's a bar that raises in between 1 and 2 decks, well, between like deck 1 and deck 3 or something like that, and it's just a fun, unique experience. Um, and then the rock climbing wall, like Nate mentioned, I think one of the first Royal Caribbean ships I was on had a carousel. So as Nate mentioned as well, these ships are destinations in and of themselves. So consider, a cruise where you have sea days where you can actually enjoy the ship as well as the port. Oh, and
absolutely.
now the really important part, the promotions.
Right? Yeah, the ship's really, there's never a dull moment. There's never a bored moment when you're on board a Royal Caribbean ship. But I know we just have a few more minutes left. So we do have our May promotions, which are 60% off of our second guest, kids sail free, as well as third and fourth guests sailing free as well on select sailings. We also have some additional savings on anyone looking to go to Alaska on board one of our Quantum class ships. This is a great shot of the North Star which that jewel-shaped capsule takes you about 400 feet above the ocean itself. So it's an incredible experience, that true bird's eye view of the beautiful Alaska outside. We are running an exclusive Loyal to Royal sale. This is an onboard credit booking promotion exclusive to Booking with Claudette. So if we do make any reservations between tomorrow through May 18th, so you have right at a week, up to $100 of onboard credit, which is combinable with our May promotions as well. So depending on the stateroom category you might be looking at, we do have up to $100 of onboard credit on the table just for Booking with Claudette. We also have a great opportunity. The best time to book a cruise is when you're on a cruise. Going to our next cruise desk, we have some great opportunities with some ship tours as well, where we can take advantage of the next cruise promotions, where we can save upwards of $500 off of your next sailing. And one of the best parts is that you do have a reduced deposit. So your traditional deposit, you're looking at $500 for a cabin, so $250 per person based on the double occupancy. With our next cruise opportunity, we do have a reduced deposit of $200 to just reserve your reservation, and then you do qualify for up to $500 of additional savings, combinable with our month-long promotion, with the onboard credit promotion and sales in itself. So just simply booking with and working with Claudette and getting access to these promotions. There's some great opportunities to ensure you get some good savings on your next booking.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Nate. And I know we went through a lot of information. As you know, we're recording this. I will get the recording all nice and done up, put it on YouTube, and send that out to everybody. If you have any questions, especially about the Cruise Next vouchers, I do have several of those if you are ready to take advantage of those by within the next couple of days. If that's too soon, I've been invited back to another tour where I can get some other certificates. $200 down, that's your deposit versus a $500 deposit per cabin, and we can work that out so you can get advantage of that. And then hopefully later on, if things work out, I may be able to bring some guests with me. So you will be, everyone attending will be at the top of my consideration. Pays to attend. And let's see. You know, this thing, it tells me a less than a minute instead of giving me a countdown. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you all for coming out, and a special thank you for Nate Good for taking time out to give us this wonderful presentation. And any last minute questions?